Many of you will remember when Playboi Carti and his friend were arrested in April of 2020. After being pulled over for expired tags in his Lamborghini, the officers searched the vehicle and found 3 unspecified guns and 12 bags of illegal substances. But after they got taken to jail, Carti was pretty much let off free and released 24 hours later. And that was thanks to his friend, who took all the gun and the majority of the drug charges. This is Jalen Tucker. From a child Hollywood star to serving a hefty prison sentence, here is how he helped Carti form his Opium label and also pretty much save Carti's career. Jalen Tucker, who is also known as JX Creased or OpiumBaby, was born on the 19th of July in 1988. Jalen was born in Columbia, South Carolina, but grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, unlike many other people I've made videos on, where they're out trying to make their music or their brand blow up from the streets of Atlanta, Jay actually took a very different route. From 6 years old, Jay would be taking part in training and theatrical practices as a hobby. Basically, he was training to be an actor. And eventually, his mother took him and his brothers and moved to pursue Jay's acting career. His mother made the sacrifice of moving her whole family to Los Angeles in the hope of reaching Jay's dreams. And his mother believed in him, as she said since he was a child, he's always had the natural ability to entertain. And since moving to LA, he's had a pretty successful career. He would feature in a couple of smaller shows and short films until he eventually got to play in one episode of the Disney show Girl Meets World. Now, as he gained a little bit of more fame from acting, he would also make friends with some interesting people. Around 2015-2016, he would be spotted with the likes of Madison Beer, Ian Connor, D Savage, and Playboi Carti. And you're probably wondering, how did he meet these people? Well, Jay would first become friends with someone named John Ross. Many of you may know him these days from his brand called Seventh Heaven, and he was also a very popular streetwear personality, I guess you could call him, back around 2015. So John Ross's story is, he's basically the son of this very rich label executive, and he's basically just a kid living in LA who's into the streetwear scene at the time. You could kind of compare it to the whole Opium thing going on currently, but back then it was less emo Opium like it is now, and it was more kind of skating streetwear such as Supreme, Palace, and stuff like that. So John Ross will be buying these clothes, posting his fits on Instagram, and eventually he would be discovered by Ian Connor. And then from then on, obviously he would be hanging around more famous people at the time, a lot of the upcoming rappers and a lot of the ASAP mob people. Now, I'm not exactly sure how John Ross and Jay actually became friends. My guess is they were just both teenagers into streetwear and just wanted a friend group to kind of do stuff with. Now, Jalen and John Ross would be spending a lot of time with Ian Connor, learning about streetwear and fashion, as at the time Ian Connor was working with the likes of Kanye West, Wiz Khalifa, and even at one point starred Kylie Jenner. And they would also be around Carti and a lot of the ASAP mob, where they would be in studio sessions and on music video shoots, learning how the best do it. And during this time, Carti and Jay became super close friends. Jay even had an Instagram post with a picture of him and Carti, captioned "The Brothers Keepers." Now, moving closer to 2018, Carti pretty much stopped hanging out with his friend group. He was no longer friends with Ian Connor, no longer friends with D Savage, and no longer friends with Uno the Activist. I actually couldn't find any real reasons. Apparently there was supposed beef, but there was nothing official.
Yes, like he cool, like don't get me wrong, Playboi Carti's cool, he's fire, he makes good music. I'ma shit on him.
And out of this whole friend group, I'm pretty sure the only ones that really stuck around with Carti was Jay. Jay's last appearance as an actor would be in 2018 in the film Bad Tutor. As past 2018 is when the Opium label would begin to develop and Jay would play a big part in it. The Opium label would begin to form in 2019 as Carti did an interview with Culture Kings posted on the 15th of January in 2020 where he said he has been working on a label.
Yeah. So right now what I'm trying to do is just expand, getting ready to like put my label together.
That's what's up.
It's not even me.
But before we move on to all of that, I want to go over when Carti and Jay got pulled over with guns and drugs. So on the 3rd of April in 2020, Carti was driving his Lamborghini with Jay in the passenger seat. Carti was pulled over for expired tags, and the officer on the scene said that he smelled marijuana coming from the vehicle. So they ended up doing a search, where they found a couple of guns and loads of illegal substances. Now, if you guys know, when there is a celebrity kind of moving around with illegal stuff, basically their group is supposed to take all the charges, which is what happened here. Because after they both got arrested, Carti was literally released 24 hours later. I think he took some of the drug charges, but everything else went on to Jay. Jay was facing up to a maximum of 50 years in prison, but of course he didn't do that. He only got around 6 months and then he was let off free. But obviously this probably put a lot of respect and trust into Jay from Carti's perspective, and it's probably one of the big reasons why he's still friends with him now, because Carti cut off the majority of the people he used to know when he was still underground. During this time, as Carti was working on his music, is when Jay would work as an A&R finding upcoming rappers, but also as a creative helping Carti with the rollout of Whole Lotta Red. And as I mentioned before, during this 2015 to 2018 time frame, when Jay was hanging around in LA, hanging around with John Ross, Ian Connor, and a bunch of other famous people at the time, he was learning a lot from going to studio sessions and music video shoots, meaning he had a lot of knowledge in the creative side of the hip hop scene, which is what made him very useful for the Opium label. Now, before I move on to the release of Whole Lotta Red and how Jay helped with the rollout, I want to first go over how he discovered Destroy Lonely. The story is, he would preview the snippet of Lone's biggest song today, Bane, which got him the attention of Opium fans. Jalen would then DM Lone saying that he liked his music, and so does Carti. And soon Lone would receive a phone call from Carti himself, where he offered advice. He told Lone to keep his head straight because he has been in his position before. He then said anything to just help a young to keep going the right way and not crashing out and falling going left. After this, Destroy Lonely would attend a couple studio sessions with Carti to pretty much test him if he's the right fit for Opium. And then a couple months later, Lone would officially sign to Opium. More recently, Jay would try to sign Glock 40 Spaz, but this pretty much backfired. Jay would first text Glock 40 Spaz, which Glock 40 Spaz then screenshotted and posted on his story saying, "Does this mean anything?" pretty much clowning him. Jay would then tweet "OO Glock 40, basically Opium Glock 40. And then the Opium member Homicide Bino would reply saying, "You say anything," again, basically clowning him that he's spreading misinformation. So long story short, Jalen tried to sign Glock 40 Spaz to Opium, but I don't think Glock 40 Spaz wanted to be in Opium. In a couple of songs, he actually dissed Opium. In a song on the album named Vom Don't Matter, Glock 40 Spaz would diss Carti saying, "Fuck Playboy Carti," then further saying that he himself is a real vamp and Carti is a fake vamp. And then on an Instagram live, he dissed him as well.
12 can't stop shit, nigga. Fuck Playboy Carti, nigga, you a hoe. Bitch ass, gay ass, hoe ass, vamp ass, nigga.
Yeah, nigga, and I was in that motherfucking desert, nigga. I ain't seen none of y'all bitch ass niggas.
I don't really see why Glock 40 Spaz did all of this. I know it's probably just for attention, but he could have easily signed to Opium, got the bag, got some sick ass lawyers to get him out of prison, but I guess he wanted the attention. So unfortunately for Jalen, he didn't manage to sign Glock 40 Spaz, but he did manage to sign Destroy Lonely, so I think that's a success. Now I want to move past Jalen's role as an A&R and move on to his role in the Whole Lotta Red rollout. So if you didn't know, Playboy Carti actually recorded the whole of Whole Lotta Red 2 weeks before it officially dropped. So to put it into perspective, he was trying to release his label and also trying to release a whole album, meaning he wasn't really bothered or had time to even promote the album. Now this is where Jay would take the lead on the rollout of Whole Lotta Red. Basically 2 months before the album dropped, it was Jay's role to pretty much tease the fans and build up as much hype as he could. Because Carti was going through the whole mysterious phase where nobody knew what the fuck he was doing. So then the 2 months leading to the album, every time Jay would post a snippet or a picture, the fans would just go crazy. And I think Jay did a pretty good job. I think a lot of it is on Carti's side though, the whole mysterious thing, because if he wasn't mysterious, all the pictures and snippets wouldn't get as much hype. But I still think we have to give props to Jay and a lot of the Opium team for building up the hype for Whole Lotta Red. And also something I want to mention, Jay actually co-wrote Kid Cudi's verse on Metamorphosis, which he actually bragged about on Twitter, and it didn't end very well because he just ended up getting clowned because the song was terrible. And also, since I've got it on the screen now, I'm gonna go over everything else he said in the tweet. So he supposedly because he has 2 times platinum records for the first 2 beats he's ever made, but I actually couldn't find it registered anywhere on the billboards or on the records or anything. So I don't know what that's about. But then of course he mentioned the Kid Cudi verse, which of course I'm guessing is true because the verse was tragic. And then he also directed the MDMA video, but the video is literally just Ken alone standing in the woods, so I really don't know what that's about. And honestly guys, I'm gonna end it there. I feel like this video has gone for way too long already, like 10 minutes. Basically, past this point, Jay just previews snippets, he hangs out with the Opium people, he also does the merch, he does like the Narcissist merch, and then also all those ones with like the mug shots. But yeah, that's it. He's pretty much an OG of Carti who stuck around and helped him promote the Opium label. I hope you guys enjoyed, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.